This video is an exploration and a comparison of the role of narration in Gone Home and Life is Strange. Sometimes a video game is very difficult to pin down. We can't tell whether it's a game, a movie, or a story. The lines of the genre become blurred, and that's exactly what happens in Gone Home and Life is Strange, but in quite different ways. Let's start with Gone Home. Gone Home is a first-person video game. So the player is Katie, who arrives home after traveling abroad to find an empty, spooky house and her family missing. The player explores the house to find clues and figure out what had happened. Fundamentally, you must examine all artifacts and pay close attention to detail to get the full story. The game itself is very linear in its storytelling. The narrative is driven by Katie's sister, Sam, and her romance with her girlfriend, Lonnie. You can examine artifacts to learn more about the parent situation, but there is one way of moving through the story, and you won't have much choice. Life is Strange, however, tells us a non-linear story, where the player can make choices and go back in time. The protagonist is Max, a photography senior, who discovers that she can manipulate time after rewinding it to save her friend Chloe. You're faced with many different choices that shape the story. However, the game does seem to aim you in a certain direction. As opposed to Gone Home, the player will get most of the story in Life is Strange without having to interact with the random objects and letters. In terms of narrative, linearity distinguishes Gone Home and Life is Strange. Linear stories progress from a concrete beginning to a solid conclusion. There are many very well crafted stories written linearly that are complex. And I believe we see that in Gone Home as well. If we strictly followed the clues and Sam's journals, we might have a simple linear experience. However, as we explore, we can also find out that the father's books were denied publishing by his old publishing house, that a publishing house interested in reprinting his books has contacted him, that the marriage of the parents is going downhill, and that the mother is possibly having an affair with a co-worker. These don't necessarily add to the main storyline of Sam and her sexuality, but exhibit the intricate work of the creators of the game as storytellers. This may explain Gone Home seem like puzzle solving. Nonlinear is the more abstract method of storytelling. Nonlinear stories are famous for incorporating many flashbacks, memory sequences, and possible beginning points, which is essential in Life is Strange. One quite revolutionary nonlinear aspect is the ability to change your decisions and undo things by rewinding time. These non-linear choices have implications for the character development. The game makes you, playing as Max, decide whether you want to make fun of Victoria or comfort her, or whether you're willing to take the blame for your friend. These decisions determine the course of the narrative. It could go either way. However, the game seems to be guiding the player, asking you whether you're sure and reminding you that your decision will have a life-changing effect. So, while the game is much less linear than Gone Home, it still leads towards certain conclusions. Despite being fundamentally more simplistic, Gone Home has more layers of meaning that are manifested in exploring the objects in the house. Somehow, the letters found humanize the characters the players don't even see. This is obvious in the case of the sister Sam, but doesn't stop there. We understand the father's problem that has led him to being distant towards his wife, and we understand the wife who is feeling her marriage falling apart, all through interacting with the objects. Life is Strange provides us with letters, objects, and pictures too, however they're not as crucial to the story. The role of these in Life is Strange is replaced with the movie-like sequences and text messages. Here we cannot choose to not watch or receive them. However, they add a similar sense to the game, a sense of another level. At the same time, this technique distances us from the characters, who, as we can see, are functioning without us. These sequences are cinematic, using different angles and shots, and they effectively pull us further into the story. Similarly, the text messages help us understand secondary characters and Max's relationship to others. These elements act as tools of storytelling. They're not essential, but they actively encourage our immersion into the game. This sense of immersion is a key aspect for understanding games and storytelling. A fascinating study by Daniel Bowman and Tobias Greatmeyer, for instance, reports that immersion is characterized by an experience you might have enjoyed while watching your favorite movie for the first time. The sensation of being transported to another time or space, as through you're taking a real journey, or the feeling of being emotionally impacted by the protagonist's fate. I believe that when playing Gone Home, one can easily get immersed into the secondary storylines presented through the seemingly arbitrary items. And in Life is Strange, a similar immersion happens as the player gets invested in the movie-like sequences that they have no control over. As suggested, the sense of immersion isn't only fulfilled through the main linear or non-linear storylines, but also through the extra layers that complement the narratives. These elements that create immersion invite us to consider Gone Home and Life is Strange as more than just video games. From this evaluation, I can conclude that Gone Home is more like a visual book, whereas Life is Strange is more like an interactive movie. They may not fit neatly into predefined categories, but that's what makes them worth your time. Thank you for listening.